are an important part of that equation. They're important stakeholders. This goes beyond just the ship and the shore. Equipment providers and service providers deliver the technology, innovation, services, standards, and quality management, and they are very much an important part of delivery of e-navigation to all users and stakeholders.
Anybody else on the panel? Okay, Dr. Alexander?
I would fully support what Danielle, Jan Erik, and Mike said. I would just put it in a broader perspective, or maybe even more specific. It's really value-added service providers of essential information required. The source will probably be government, government infrastructure for weather and meteorological and ice coverage in the Arctic and so on and so on. But the value-added service providers will provide this to the shipping community, what they need, where they need it, and when they need it. So I fully support this concept that Michael Bergman brought up.
Captain Ang, did you want to add anything? Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. We have time for one more question.
I appreciate the opportunity. Ralph Bruni with RTI. Now, this question may come a bit out of left field, but considering the amount of investment and time that would be needed to get these plans going, I was wondering how much transference of technology and lessons and existing items can be brought in from, let's say, aviation, space travel, God knows, trucking, and the like, who are dealing with similar problems. Aviation certainly showed us how to use waypoints. How it would be at higher speed, they have to do their solutions rather quickly. Whether that has been done, have we reached out to those industries? Because we do tend, admittedly, to be rather insular in our ways. So maybe this is a question that was fielded before. It's my first conference of this nature, so forgive me. Thank you very much.
May I suggest that we ask somebody associated with the aviation industry to answer?
Yeah, Michael Bergman.
Right.
Would anybody like to respond further to the question about looking at other modes?
Yes, I pass the floor to Michael Bergman.
Thank you very much. I think that's a very good question, and we actually talked about it. We have a lot to learn, but we also have to be acknowledged that marine is different than aviation. So that is key to it. So concepts, yes, they can be transferred, and it's wise to actually do that, and important to do that. On the other side, you have to take in consideration the special conditions the maritime industry is in. We are not in three-dimensional work. You would only want to be in one dimension. Going down is not an option if you are not a submarine. So the concept is a little bit different, but nevertheless, you're right. Things can be looked at, and in my presentation, for example, we'll talk a little bit about it. Thanks.
Mike Solosi, is there any connection to the work on PNT and the maritime side?
I'm sorry, Helen, you said in relation
Well, I was just
PNT?
saying that the PNT, are we connecting the dots on PNT from aviation side to maritime?
We are. In the U.S. Coast Guard, we have long looked at aviation for examples and see if there's any technology that we can apply. We've even looked at the Railroad Administration to see if there's any technology or practices that are transferable. Aviation's use of precise positioning, navigation, and timing, their needs are much more demanding than the needs of marine navigation, and we certainly see them as an example for asset tracking and everything. But as Michael Bergman said, marine navigation is different than air navigation. It's different than, I don't know if you navigate on a railroad, but it's different from that too. But there are certainly lessons that can be learned and carried over.
Thank you. Any last words from the panelists? Okay. Please join with me in thanking our great panelists today. And you'll have a chance to talk to them through lunch and throughout the day. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the captain.